Welcome to the studio at That Nerd Show. I'm Marcus Blake, and this is your daily nerd news for Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. Our top stories of the day take us to the world of film. Our first story is involving Netflix. Netflix takes Adam McKay's Meteor movie, Don't Look Up, along with Jennifer Lawrence to star in the movie. But anyway, Netflix has boarded this new comedy feature called Don't Look Up, which also stars Oscar winner Jennifer Lawrence. The news broke today and of course the project originated back in November when it was first announced by the Oscar-winning Big Short filmmaker's new first look deal at Paramount under his label Hyperobject Industries. But anyway, Don't Look Up tells the story of two low-level astronomers who must go on a giant media tour to warn mankind of an approaching asteroid that will destroy Earth. Production will begin in April for a release later this year on Netflix. But Adam McKay wrote the comedy, and he will produce it under his Hyperobject Industry banner, along with Kevin Mesick. He was quoted as saying, "I am so thrilled to make this movie with Jennifer Lawrence. She's what folks in the 17th century used to call a dynamite talent." And the fact that Netflix sees this movie as a worldwide comedy sets the bar high for me and my team in an exciting and motivating way. Scott Stuber, head of Netflix Films, also said that Adam has always had great timing when it comes to making smart, relevant, and irreverent films that depict our culture. Even if somehow it ends up predicting planet Earth's intimate demise, we're excited to add this to our slate before it all comes to an end. He was joking there. Don't worry, folks. The world is not coming to an end. But we do have a great comedy about the world coming to an end heading to Netflix later this year. So we will be sure to check that out and let you know what we think. In other movie news, Espen Sandberg will helm the survival thriller movie Beast. And it will be starring Morena Baccarin for the Rakuten H Collective. So, Rakuten and the H Collective basically have set Deadpool and Homeland star Morena Baccarin to leave this survival thriller called Beast for the Oscar-nominated Kon-Tiki co-director Espen Sandberg. Beast is the first film under the Rakuten H Collective studio joint venture that was launched last August. And principal photography will begin in late March in New Zealand. The story is based on Aaron W. Sala's Blacklist script and is described as a hard-hitting tale of a woman who survives a plane crash and is stranded on a seemingly desert island in the South Pacific. She must fight to get back to her children, face her inner demons, and a real threat of unimaginable proportions. Cheryl Clark and Kenneth Huang are producing for the H Collective alongside Rakuten chairman and CEO Mickey Mikitani. Sandberg, whose credits also include Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, says Beast merges horror, thriller, action, and dramatic elements with a strong female lead and an important theme. It's a story about a woman that is forced to break out of her victim mentality by finding her inner strength and courage to fight for herself and reclaim her life. Baccarin is currently in post-production on the STX thriller Greenland for director Rick Roman, Raw, and also a movie starring Gerard Butler, and The Good House opposite Sigourney Weaver and Kevin Kline for Amblin Partners. She recently joined the cast of season 2 of Twilight Zone for CBS All Access alongside Billy Porter, Jenna Elfman, and Jillian Jacobs. For those of you that may not be familiar with Morena Baccarin and her claim to fame, she was one of the original members of Firefly, playing the, well, let's just say, high-priced, elegant escort, Anara. So we've been watching her and stuff for the better part of 20 years. It's always great to see her in films. And, of course, she played the love interest of Deadpool. So we'll definitely check that out when the movie comes out, especially to see how closely similar it might be to Castaway, starring Tom Hanks. All right, in other movie news, Martin Scorsese will be joining Paul Schrader's The Card Counter, alongside Tiffany Haddish, Sheridan, and Willem Dafoe, and of course, with Oscar Isaac in this revenge thriller. But Martin Scorsese is set to reteam with Paul Schrader on the first Reformed director's next movie, The Card Counter. Fresh off his latest Oscar nominations for The Irishman, Scorsese will executive produce the revenge thriller pick, making his fifth collaboration with Schrader after Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, The Last Temptation of Christ, and Bringing Out the Dead. We can also confirm that Tiffany, Haddish, Sheridan, Willem, Dafoe and Oscar Isaac have all joined the cast. But this story centers on a card player named Tell, played by Oscar Isaac, whose Spartan existence on the casino trail is shattered when he is approached by Zerk, played by Sheridan, an angry young man seeking help to execute his plan for revenge on a military colonel, played by Willem Dafoe. He gains backing from a mysterious gambler financier, La Linda, played by Tiffany Haddish. Anyway, Tell takes Zerk with him on the road, going from casino to casino until the unlikely trio set their sights on winning the World Series of Poker tournament. Schrader also had mentioned the casting updates in an interview this past month. So, looks very interesting, and it also looks like it's Oscar Isaac's next project after The Rise of Skywalker. So we'll definitely check that out and let you know what we think of it. There's no release date for it or when they are starting to film this. It was just previously announced that this project is on its way. Anyway, Schrader also penned the screenplay, and it's a re-teaming with the Taxi Driver collaborator Scorsese. Handway Films is handling the international sales. But anyway, that's basically everything that we know so far about this film. All right, that's what's going on in the world of film today. Now we turn our attention to TV and streaming. All right, so a Doc Savage TV series is finally in the works at Sony Pictures Television, along with the original filmmaker behind it, Condé Nast. This has actually been in development for a while. But anyway, here's a little bit about what this is. The Man of Bronze is headed to the small screen. Sony Pictures Television and Neil H. Moritz Sony-based original film have partnered with Condé Nast Entertainment to develop a scripted television series based on the Doc Savage pulp fiction franchise from the Street and Smith Library. The project is part of a new 3-year deal for original film and signed with the TV studio last summer. The scripted series will chronicle his adventures featuring rampaging dinosaurs, secret societies led by dastardly villains, fantastic gadgets and weapons, death-dealing traps, hair-raising escapes, and plots to rule the earth. Executive producing the project are Moritz and Plavin Shefty from original film, and Oren Kavich and John Koa of Condé Nast Entertainment. Condé Nast acquired the Street and Smith Library in 1959. Sony first partnered with Moritz's original film to develop a Doc Savage movie, recruiting Shane Black in 2013 to write the script. And they also signed Dwayne Johnson, or The Rock, in 2016 to star as the classic pulp hero. But in a 2018 interview, Johnson noted that business affairs-related issues had hindered the project. While trying to get the feature off the ground, Moritz began contemplating a small screen adaptation. He felt like with hundreds of characters and myriad stories featured in the books, the Doc Savage International property would be better served as a TV series where there is more time to explore the characters. Original film has a successful track record adapting comic book graphic novels to television like The Boys, Preacher, and Happy. Now, for those of you that don't know who Doc Savage is, and we haven't seen anything about him basically since the 70s, from a 1975 movie called Doc Savage, The Man of Bronze, starring Ron Elley. Anyway, he first debuted in 1933 in pulp magazines. Savage, otherwise known as Clark Savage Jr., was inspired by and created to be a semi-combination of notable literary and pulp heroes such as Sherlock Holmes and Tarzan. The adventuring polymath was trained from early childhood to be at peak physical condition, and he is blessed with genius-level intellect and basically a photographic memory. Abilities he uses to right wrongs and correct injustices wherever he happens to encounter them. Along with characters like the Shadow, originating in 1930, Dick Tracy in 1931, Conan the Barbarian in 1932, the Lone Ranger and Tonto in 1933, and Green Hornet and Kato in 1936, Doc Savage was part of the the later pulp genre that directly inspired the comic book superhero genre that emerged in the late 1930s. Marvel's Stan Lee has always credited Doc Savage as being the forerunner to modern superheroes. And, of course, he had a Superman-like quality. But it's interesting that we're finally coming back in the golden age of superheroes, that we're finally getting back around to doing a Doc Savage story. But anyway, original film's current series for Sony TV included The Boys on Amazon and SWAT on CBS. It's also produced AMC's Preacher and Sci-Fi's Happy. We don't know when they're going into production, what they're doing, but or when this is even going to premiere, whether it's going to be on streaming services or cable TV. But it looks like that this project that has been in development hell over the past few years is finally going to be coming to some kind of screen. Just looks like it's the small screen. Still no word on whether Dwayne Johnson will be playing the character who, again, was originally attached to it a couple of years ago. But we will wait and see and let you know more about this project as it comes out. But in case you are still wondering more about Doc Savage beyond the pulp comics, you can always go back to the 1975 Doc Savage movie, The Man of Bronze, starring Ron Ellie. Pardon the interruption while you watch this fantastic video by That Nerd Show. But we wanted to remind you that when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com and check out all the cool swag that we sell to help support this great news outlet. Yeah, if you like funny gaming or pop culture retro t-shirts, we have them. If you want a fantastic nerd bracelet to show your love as a nerd, we have that. We are also the home of the Baby Yoda t-shirt. That's right, we got a Baby Yoda t-shirt that you can buy and help support That Nerd Show. So when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com, check it out, help support the show, and keep the lights on. Every purchase helps. All right, another TV news. Spectrum Originals. Spectrum is Time Warner, but anyway, they have their own original series, their own original content that they've been developing. But they have set a premiere date for the Josh Hartnett Southern Gothic drama Paradise Lost. Spectrum Originals will launch the Josh Hartnett fronted Southern Gothic mystery Paradise Lost on April 13th, so in a couple of months. But anyway, Charter Communications' original content division will launch the 10-part drama ad-free on its on-demand service. The show, which comes from Paramount Television Studios and Anonymous Content, launches first on Spectrum before running on the Paramount network later this year as part of a deal between Viacom and Charter. The Paramount network has gotten a lot of critical acclaim because of its the last 2 years for Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner. But here's a little bit about this series. Paradise Lost sees Hartnett playing a man who moves back to Mississippi with his Palo Alto psychiatrist partner, played by Jane the Virgin's Bridget Regan. The show, which was formerly known as Heaven of Hell, is a mystery drama set in the South that follows Hartnett and Regan's characters as they move from California to the small town of Mississippi, where they uncover a mystery that needs solving in a slightly unusual fashion. The series was created by going to see the Elephant author Rhodes Fishburne, who previously wrote on Don Johnson and Chase Crawford's drama Blood and Oil. It is executive produced by Fishburne, who co-show runs with Ariska Lasan-Mittman, who also worked on Dexter, Timeless, and Elementary. David Katner, Jeff Workin, and Romeo Tyrone are also behind this. The pilot was directed by John Lee Hancock of the movie The Blind Side, who executive produces and was also filmed in Baton Rouge. Here's also other cast members. It will also include Nick Nolte, Barbara Hershey, Gail Bean, and Danielle Deadweiler, Shane McRae, and Silas Ware Mitchell. Hartnett was quoted this week as saying that he was attracted to the script because it had so many layers. this concept of mystery and religion versus rationality-minded scientific thinking, there's a tiny point where it comes together and all of the characters have their own voices. It wasn't necessarily the main plot mystery that drew me, and rather than the mystery of the characters. You read a lot of scripts with cliffhangers. All of the characters were well drawn, and they all have their own mystery to them in a way that they were interacting. Each scene was a piece of the puzzle, so it felt like a much grander world, he added. This is also very interesting because Josh Hartnett is one of those that kind of left Hollywood, moved back to Minnesota, and picks his projects very carefully. He was latest seen in a TV series called Penny Dreadful, which we very much enjoyed at that nerd show. It was on Showtime, and now you can actually go and binge watch all of it on Netflix. But for him to pick a project like this, when he's extremely choosy, a very talented actor who came into the industry as a teenager of sorts, this just makes this project even more intriguing and something that we're definitely going to want to check out. So once we have had a chance to see it and review it, we'll let you know what we think a little after it has premiered on the Spectrum, streaming service. All right, that's what's happening in the world of TV and film. We only have one little news item today regarding gaming. As I have said many times, once we get more and more information out about the next generation of consoles, we will definitely let you know. And we'll let you know immediately. Today's news item has to do with the Xbox Series X, or commonly referred to as Xbox 2. It may push sound more than ever before with its dedicated hardware acceleration. And this is a little bit more about that. We've been hearing how the Xbox Series will invest in graphics and processing power, and it sounds like they could also drive the game audio forward with dedicated hardware. There's been a teaser for a potential new Xbox Series feature that comes out via not another alleged next-gen leak, but rather a description for the GDC 2020 panel. Anyway, it was titled Building Audio Gateways into Immersive Worlds with Spatial Sound, presented by Microsoft. It specifically teases some features of the new generation Xbox consoles. Here's the full synopsis for the event. Learn from the audio designers of Borderlands 3 and Gears of War 5 around how collaboration between Microsoft, Dolby, and other middleware partners kicked off a revolution with spatial sound that turns any pair of headphones into a multi-dimensional getaway to another world. Attendees will dive deep into audio design pipelines, like Project Acoustics, and the relationship to dedicated hardware acceleration on newer generation Xbox consoles. Now let's be clear, Xbox One doesn't feature dedicated hardware acceleration for audio. It and most other consoles process sounds on their CPUs, only including a dedicated card for graphics acceleration. While discrete sound cards are still used in some of the best gaming PCs, many get along just fine with whatever is built into the motherboard. If the Xbox Series X features hardware acceleration just for audio, you can expect Microsoft to put a thunderous emphasis on sound for the next generation. Now, it won't be alone. The PlayStation 5 architect Mark Cerny said back in April, the last April, that the system's chipset will also include a unit to support 3D audio, which will make you feel more immersed into the game as sounds come at you from above, behind, and from the side. Simply put, think in terms of the best surround sound that you get at movies or like an IMAX theater and build that into a console with great RPGs and story-driven games. That's boosted through your 4K TVs, who already have great surround sound speakers themselves. So it sounds like that whatever we think is good sound nowadays with our current consoles, it's going to be 5 times greater and more of a surround sound effect in immersing us into these fantastic stories that are coming out. With the Xbox Series X coming out later this year and the release of Halo 6, which has always had a great score and great sound to begin with, it's hard not to imagine how fantastic this game might be with everything that they're putting into it. And that's just a personal editorial commentary by me. during this new show about how excited we are to hear more about what they're putting into sound, not just graphics. So, that's what's happening. That's the latest information on the Xbox Series X and what's going on in the world of gaming today. But we should be getting more announcements, especially about from Sony about the PlayStation 5 in the next week or so, and I'm sure Microsoft will be following with more updates about Xbox, the Xbox One Series X as well. So there you have it, guys. More and more interesting gaming news about the new consoles coming out later this fall around the holidays. And that's what's happening in the world of gaming, TV, and film. And now to the question of the day. We always love doing news about characters from the Firefly universe. Having met some of them over the years past and interviewed them at conventions, you know, it's always great to see Morena Baccarin and, you know, Gina Torres, Alan Tudyk, Nathan Fillion, all of them with projects that we can immerse ourselves into. And, you know, to see how they have grown as actors in their careers as well. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to ask this question because it's a rumor that's gone around for a long time in Hollywood regarding Firefly, the series. So the question is, should there be a Firefly reboot with the original characters? Is it time that we actually reboot this series? It's been 18 years since Firefly premiered on TV, and then it was ceremoniously canceled because I couldn't show the episodes in order. We got a little bit of closure a few years later with the movie. But, you know, fans of that show, we've always dreamed about being able to get back into Firefly and getting more from the series, even though some of the original characters are dead. You know, how do you go on when Wash and Preacher aren't there anymore? I honestly don't think we should reboot it. I think that it's more nostalgia than anything else, than, you know, them really trying to capture the magic of what they had at that time. And because it's become such a cult phenomenon, you know, how are you ever going to recapture that? It's the same thing that we always talk about, you know, with reboots and stuff like that. But there's also been talk that you can have a new cast of characters and old characters popping in here and there, helping them. Or, you know, they're split in different places. That you're getting a new generation of people on Firefly, but you still have the original characters. And to be honest, that just doesn't sound as much fun. You know, about once a year, I personally rewatch all 14 episodes of Firefly and then do the movie. It's a great little weekend binge watch. And by the way, it's also free on Facebook Watch. So, how would my love for it, and as well as I know a lot of other fans, what can you possibly do that's going to make it as good as what we already have? Is it more or less just because we would love to see them on the you know, Serenity again? It would just be great to have these characters. I mean, they've popped up in each other's series over the last 18 years and worked together in various things. I mean, Nathan Fillion is always really good about bringing, you know, bringing cast members back into a series. The Rookie. So, I mean, let's be honest. Yes, it would be fun to see it. Yes, it would be great to experience more with Serenity. Okay? I mean, there's still many stories out there to tell. And we would love to see all of them back together on the big screen. But do we really need a reboot that is not going to be as magical as being able to go back and binge watch the 14 episodes that they have? You know, would Joss Whedon even come back and do it after he brought closure with a movie? I mean, it was magnificent. The fact that they even got a movie financed was a miracle in itself. And I thought the movie did fine in rounding out the stories and bringing, you know, closure. So it's, yes, it would be fun. Yes, we love watching Firefly. but it wouldn't be the same. It's the example that I could use is pretty much anything, any Star Wars movie that you can make that might be good is never going to be as good as the original trilogy. Okay? They might be fun. We would go back and watch it. You know, it's the same thing that I did, that many of us X-Files fans did when they did season 10 and 11, those short little seasons. They weren't that good, but it was fun to have Agent Scully and Mulder back, and also to close out some storylines. So, at the end of the day, should we really reboot Firefly with the original characters? Is it necessary, or can we just enjoy 14 episodes in a movie and watch it over and over again and just keep passing it on to future generations about this was such a great program, and it's like watching a mini-series with a movie, you know? So, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what you think. Should there be a Firefly reboot with the original characters or not? You can tweet us out at That Nerd Show. Send us your answers. Let us know what you think. I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and this has been your daily nerd news for Wednesday, February 19th, 2020. Until the next time, goodbye. Hello there, fellow nerds. I'm Marcus Blake, the editor and producer of That Nerd Show, and we need your help. That's right, we need your support. Like any news outlet, we rely on advertising and donations to keep the lights on. To be the greatest show in this universe, we need funding, and that's where you come in. Like most artists out there, we actually have a Patreon account, and we're asking for donations. But we're not just asking for you to give us money. We actually have stuff that we're going to be giving away if you donate. So we'll be uploading more and more videos to our Patreon account from YouTube, from our daily news to interviews with celebrities to gaming videos and all of our other individual shows that we are doing here in 2020. But to keep us going, we need a little bit of funding. And again, that's where you come in. So it can be as little as $1. $1 makes all the difference in the world. And you can do anywhere from $1 to $3 to $5, all the way up to $500. And we're going to be giving stuff away for your donations. So you could get some Nerd Power wristbands or any other wristbands from our series of wristbands that we're creating for nerds. You can get cool retro gaming t-shirts from our Nerd Swag shop if you make a donation of $20 or more. You can even get advertising on our website or within our videos if you make a purchase or donate $50 or more dollars. We have different tiers, like most artists. Want that new video game that's coming out this year? You want to be playing the same video game we are as we're reviewing it? Hey, you can do that with a $100 donation. Are you looking to get a new console before the year is out? Hey, $500 and you can get an Xbox One, a PlayStation 4, or even a Nintendo Switch. It just takes a little bit to help us. As little as $1 per video that we do. And we're going to have a variety of videos that you can help support. So if you like our content, if you like everything that we do as nerds, from honest conversations about pop culture to great celebrity interviews to wacky and fun gaming videos, then help support us on our Patreon account. You can check us out at patreon.com/thatnerdshow. You can check us out at patreon.com/that. Take 3. Go to patreon.com/thatnerdshow and make your donation today. Even if it's just $1. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, and stay nerdy.